You are now chopping it up with the Nerd Barbershop Podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Nerd Barbershop Podcast. I'm Terrence Williams. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode and hanging out with me for a little bit. So in this episode of the podcast, it's probably not going to be that long. This is something I want to talk about because it makes me laugh thinking about it and how so many people that work in the restaurant industry, hospitality industry as a whole have the same opinion, but fuck brunch. It's just funny how as a collective, we just don't like brunch. And that doesn't go into, because I like brunch. I like going to brunch personally. Last year for my birthday, I actually went to brunch with unlimited mimosas, and it was fun. It's a lot of fun, But working brunch and having to deal with brunch customers is a whole nother side of the coin. It's a pain in the ass, and most of the time, most places they add on brunch just to kind of get in on the trend, because brunch really kind of brunch has always been a thing, but around 2017, 2018, it really kind of picked up. In 2019 is really when brunches kind of took off, where people started doing unlimited buffets, and you have more mimosas. You have, of course, Bloody Marys and stuff like that, and people started having unlimited mimosas and bottomless brunch and doing all these different things. And so it's kind of like a cash cow. And a lot of places just wanted to capitalize on that trend and have it available for people that just want to do brunch. And especially when you have if you're already a breakfast restaurant, it's a little bit easier because you already handle that type of clientele anyway. But when you're just kind of you don't really do that, all of a sudden you just want to kind of expand into that, it's kind of weird, kind of annoying. At my last job, we actually didn't have brunch for a while, but we did breakfast. We have, of course, our normal lunch stuff. And then just maybe after a few months of us being open, or maybe going into maybe almost a year, they decided oh hey, we're gonna add stuff to the brunch menu. I'm like, why? And for me personally, I was like, why are we creating a brunch menu when we could just start lunch sooner and just have breakfast and lunch run together, which is so much easier. I think we added 2 or 3 menu items. I think the bar has some stuff too, but I was like, we don't need to add menu items because they didn't really sell that much. Just all we had to do was start lunch, maybe an hour sooner, and then you just have breakfast and lunch run together, and that covers your brunch, quote unquote. Which actually was what we ended up doing. I never got the credit for that, but whatever. But it just made sense. And a lot of times we just don't do it because you have to deal with special orders and deal with people that might want certain things, and it's just brunch is always a pain. And working a brunch crowd is always weird because it's since that in between, some people they'll try to get stuff for lunch, and it's no, we don't do that because this is prime for brunch. Oh, well, I want this. Well, you can't do that because that's early breakfast. It's weird. Brunch can be a pain just because it's annoying. It's extra layers and stuff like that, and we really don't feel like dealing with that. Especially if you're in a restaurant where you do you do eggs, and you do eggs all the different ways, and people want eggs a specific way at a specific time for this thing. You have to deal with, of course, since a lot of people like to customize their food, so you have to do all these custom orders on top of dealing with just regular rush and then brunch, and then it's early in the morning, so you have to deal with breakfast stuff a little bit later in the later in the afternoon, because usually breakfast is usually over by 11:30, but now because you have brunch is going on to 1 or 2, so you gotta deal with breakfast a little bit longer than normal. And you gotta make sure your staff knows about the brunch menu and that they're on top of it. You have more people to cover brunch because a lot of places only do brunch on the weekends, Saturdays or Sundays, so you might have to have more employees on deck and more servers on deck for Saturdays and Sundays because that's when brunch is. And but brunch is only an extra couple of hours, so you necessarily might not want to overstaff. We have enough staffs in case there's a rush. It's a thing. And brunch has its own problems, and it's kind of funny. You have to balance all of those things out. And remind you, a lot of places only do brunch 2 days out of a 7-day week if you're open all 7 days. So yeah, it's just a weekend, and the weekend is usually the busiest time anyway, so you have to balance a busy brunch with probably a busy lunch service. So you have to like find that balance in scheduling and ingredients. Make sure you have stuff to cover your brunch, but also stuff to cover dinner later on. And yeah, brunch sucks. Like brunch is just, it's a caveat. It's a pain in the ass for all of us at the in the hospitality restaurant world. Like we don't mind going to brunch, but having to work brunch, it sucks. It's a pain. We don't like it. And that's my little rant on brunch. Oh yeah, this wasn't gonna be a long podcast episode. It's more kind of for comedy and just kind of funny than for anything else. But anyway, thank you so much for supporting the podcast. If I sound a little nasally, I'm dealing with allergies and stuff like that, so I'll probably sound like this in all my videos for a little while till I kind of get this kind of figured out a little bit, but it's not too bad. But yeah, so thanks so much for supporting the podcast. If you enjoy brunch, please comment. If you like brunch, you work in the industry and you hate brunch, you're more welcome to tell me why you hate brunch. Because I appreciate like the input and people that if you want, if it makes you laugh, you're more than welcome to comment on the video. I'm pretty sure you can answer it on Spotify or just hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Thank you for supporting the podcast. We're gonna try to keep the podcast rocking and rolling. I know I haven't had this is my first episode. I think in like a month or so. So I'm trying to get back into more podcasting as well. I'm dropping a lot more videos on the YouTube channel, trying to get more consistent in this because I really want to push the brand forward. And the only way the brand will move forward is if I do the work to push it forward. So that's the goal. So I might be dropping more podcasts recently. I might be dropping more YouTube videos. I gotta get more food videos up and running too, so we're gonna work on that. Hopefully there's some more live streams. Just try to push the goal is to push the brand forward in 2024. So we'll see where that goes. So again, thank you so much for rocking with me. We're trying to get to 100 episodes of the podcast. I'm almost there. After this episode, I think I'll be 26 episodes to go till I get to 100 episodes of the podcast. I'm not sure what the 100 episodes of the podcast is gonna be, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for everyone that's been listening. Thank you so much from across the country, across the state in Illinois, across the United States, across the world. Wherever you listen to the podcast, I greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much for your love. You don't understand how much that means. If it's 1 play, 10 plays, 100 plays, whoever listens to it, I hope you get some enjoyment out of some entertainment out of it. And thank you so much for rocking with me. Always and forever, Slicing Dicing Gaming. Not just the motto, it's lifestyle. I'll see you next podcast. Later.